On September 11, 2025, Bethan Harrison, activist, asked Yara Shahidi, activist, in a Forbes interview on how she felt about her world right now. Yara answered honestly by saying she is terrified and would like a plan to fix it. I empathize, and that no one should live in fear. In my opinion, this sounds like a plea for help. I want to help, but how? When Yara Shahidi was younger, she did an equality speech on October 19, 2018 at the Gleason Respect Awards. I argue the speech is the hypothesis to fix her world and to reduce her fear. In April 2024, I published my book on Amazon based on this hypothesis, showing that prevention will lead to equity and that equity will lead to equality. This hypothesis will fix the political, economic, and social problems in her world and our world. This nonprofit, non-edited channel is a letter to Yara Shahidi and teaching Yara's hypothesis to the public in order to better our world. In the end, Yara Shahidi will get the Nobel Peace Prize for her hypothesis. Dear Yara Shahidi, Chapter 0, the beginning of equality for all. Equality is a state of being equal for each member of a group, class, or society. In 1963, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. delivered an equality speech called I Have a Dream. In the speech, he said, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal." He also said, "Children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but the content of their character." Lastly, he said, "One day, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers." The speech made Congress move faster in passing the Civil Rights Acts of 1964 and 1965. The Civil Rights Acts produced many laws that gave African Americans more equal treatment. Since the passing of these landmark bills, a new generation of activists are calling for equality, just like what Dr. King did over 60 years ago. One such activist is named Yara Shahidi. She is the voice of her generation, Generation Z. Miss Shahidi has had such a prolific voice on the call for equality for America that she has been endorsed by Oprah Winfrey to be the next president of the United States. Keep in mind, she's only a teenager in 2019. That's when I began writing this. Ms. Shahidi also does conversational panels on topics relating to equality with former First Lady Michelle Obama, former President Barack Obama, and former U.S. Senator and former Vice President of the United States Kamala Harris. In an equality speech at the Gleason Respect Awards, Yara said that all people should feel deserved and supported in expressing their right to being their whole selves, limited by nothing regardless of ethnicity, gender identities, sexuality, ability, religion, or any other identity the individual chooses. She concluded by saying that there should be safe spaces in which the individual's presence and existence are inherently valued through the promotion of equity, because it is dangerous to promote an identity by narrative. So what does this mean? That Dr. King failed in his civil rights campaign and that equality for all is unattainable? I argue that equality for all is attainable, at least the beginning of it, with the science and technology we have today. Dr. King's civil rights legislation did its job by getting rid of mostly all the institutional racism and segregation that plagued the United States in the 1960s. This is why Dr. King and his supporters for civil rights are hailed as heroes for the change they made over 60 years ago. I argue that civil rights wasn't designed to fix individual racism. In order to get rid of individual racism, individuals have to learn empathy. Empathy helps the individual to understand and share the feelings of another. While racism dismisses the individual, empathy helps a person stand in another person's shoes so that they can understand the whole person. Great, problem solved. Now I can stop reading, or writing in that case. The question now is, how do humans deliver empathy to the individual so that everyone can achieve equality for all? In order to achieve this, America has to be built upon a prevention, equity, and equality model. The idea is that if humans can prevent individual entropy, then individual equity through happiness and empathy taught and used over a lifetime coalesce into an equality for all society. I know I wrote all this. Jeez. Another way to say this is if the students could be trained in school in prevention, equity through happiness and empathy, and then equality from 2 years old to graduation, then the idea is that schools will produce generation after generation of children that will grow into adults who will circumvent racism and accept individuals as they are by working and being friends with them. This, in the end, will produce an equality for all society for generations to come. The only problem is that every child has to be trained this way, from special education to gifted education, for it to fully work. Besides school training, getting rid of racism is a great achievement for any society. But achieving an equality for all society is complex and incorporates many facets of the social, political, and economic spectrums. This paper will show ways in achieving this by preventing crime, achieving justice, preventing poverty, getting rid of political corruption, etc. For example, no child grows up wanting to be a junkie, druggie, or gangbanger. This is why prevention is so important to start at an early age. I have to stop writing or reading at this point and say something off topic. Well, I'm still reading, sorry. In my opinion, I don't believe this equality for all society is that complex to achieve from what I have found in my research. Sorry, frog in my throat. Sorry. Maybe I'm being too naive in my thinking. In the movie Man of Steel, there was a line mentioned that every human has a capacity for good. For me, the Man of Steel movie was alright, but not as good as the 1978 Superman movie. Christopher Reeve did such a great job portraying Superman. I highly recommend watching the 1978 Superman movie to see a real superhero in action. It's really good. Anyways, that line in the movie from Man of Steel is so true and factual. So true. So true. It is desperately needed for the beginning of equality for all, for an equality for all society. Not edited. In this paper, I will hopefully prove that all humans have the capacity for good and that the beginning of an equality for all society is achievable with the science and technology that humans have today. Yes, I did it. So, ich ni sun shi go kuju konnichiwa la lune oui hola buenos dias adios we all win together de nada.